25, and today I'm interviewing Miss Wanda. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself, Miss Wanda.
My name is Wanda Robbins, and I currently attend Clayton State University, um, and being part of what they call the Senior Waiver Program. And I'm working on my second college degree, so I'm very excited.
That's really good. Okay, so I know that you previously told me about our topic. So our topic is women's rights movement and stuff. So particularly, my first question is, what does women's rights movement mean to you personally?
Personally, do you mind if I go back to when I first started
Yes.
in the movement? Okay. Um, well, my era, I'm a baby born like in 1951, and you may or may not know this, but women's rights were very, very limited. Um, Not in 1951, but prior to, and still evolving. Um, the women's rights problem did not stand out at that time in my life. I was more aware of the political events happening at the time, which involved, I was in my third grade class. I remember the teacher had the TV on, and she had, it was showing that President John F. Kennedy had gotten assassinated. And I was in third grade, young. I couldn't understand why the teacher was crying. So that caught my attention. And then I can say fast forward to 1968. I was about 16 when Martin Luther King and RFK assassinated. So that was further um, my attention in that movement. In 1968, um, same year that they passed away, there was the riots, neighborhood race riots. Um, I remember seeing military tanks coming down the street in my neighborhood, and my parents telling us to stay in the house. And I was just really curious. I'd never seen military tanks in our neighborhood before. Um, so that was kind of disheartening. I mean, to know that they weren't shooting anyone; they're just visible presence. I just wanted to have it in these President Trump has in the different cities now, the military being on site. It wasn't until I entered college in the fall of 1970 that I came to work with the rights movement. The need for education beyond high school. And then I became more socially aware of the systemic issues surrounding women and girls inequality.
So previously, as currently you're taking the course on the actual movement, do you think now you have a better understanding of it?
Absolutely. Professor McCrae, who leads the course. I mean, it's just so wonderful. She exposes us to different articles, videos, or what have you, of women's rights, which when I was coming through my first time in college, my first 4 years, getting that first degree, they didn't cover that kind of stuff. They just did the basics, and just, go, get A's and B's or whatever and go on to college. And that was there for me at night. Plus, I attended somewhat of a protected learning environment. I went to parochial schools, Catholic schools, or whatever. And so they didn't delve into anything as far as women's African Americans. They didn't talk about any of that. And I didn't know the difference because that's all I knew at the time.
That's really good that you found it. 'Cause that's amazing to me that they actually have a whole course about the women's rights movement.
Yes. It's intense too. It's a lot of material, but it's exciting to read.
I wish they would like make that a real course for everyone.
Sorry, what you saying?
So my Next question is: do you remember any specific events that made you realize that the movement was actually real?
Well, I was in college at the time, and you remember this because you not like the young everybody. But anyway, Title IX came out, and that was a really big deal because like in 1972, federal law prohibited discrimination based on sex. The law afforded women and girls from being participating in school and other educational programs, including sports. So that was a big deal back then. And then I also experienced or attended rather the women's strike for equality. In 70, they had rallies and protests to raise awareness about gender discrimination and advocates for equal rights and women's rights. And then I remember No B. Wade, the 1970 Supreme Court ruled states did not impose restrictions on abortion and women access safe abortion. Um, Earlier in this women's history class, you know, of course, early on, like the 18th, 19th century, back in 19th college, that was a big deal because women finally got that right to monitor if they want to have children or not, because the responsibility was never on the man, it was on the woman.
Right.
So that was a huge deal.
Okay. Oh. The next question I want to ask you today was: how have you seen opportunity for women change over time throughout your life?
Well, I can start with education. Back in the 70s, when I was transitioning my education journey, in my 4 year degree that I mentioned to you earlier, the main goal for me then was education. And as the years passed, women were exposed and encouraged to participate in the STEM programs. In addition to men, women were now able to seek employment in the sciences, math, technology, and engineering fields. This allowed them to be more competitive in the workforce. So I was really proud of that. As far as there's a couple other things I want to speak on about too in my life. Um, it was a wonderful opportunity for personal growth. Um, I feel more empowered to step outside the box of previous gender norms, roles, and expectations. I was recently reading an article on self-discovery and self. I go to I buy a lot of ebooks on Amazon, and it was just mind-boggling to know that you can teach yourself anything. Self-learning is so important when you're born that you're not, because all of us need to have that education. It doesn't have to be in a formal setting either. It can be self-taught. And then, as far as workplace roles, women have evolved into more leadership roles. They're exposed to various mentorship programs and support networks and other internship programs. As a matter of fact, when I was at Delta Airlines, when I worked there for 30 years, I was in leadership eventually. I participated in the mentorship programs they had, and it was wonderful. We would travel around to different cities to meet up with different groups to go over the business acumen and what have you for the airline industry. And um, and we joined various clubs and activities that helped us along in our pursuits. And then the internship program, uh, I was able to even recently, like in 2023, I think it was 2024, I was participating in internship program through Clayton State with this councilman, Alfred Dixon, in Jonesboro, Georgia. Uh, it was wonderful being able to be part of the community involvement. Um, I was able to assist him in his pursuit of the youth group for the council, a junior council group, young people from high school. and I'm no longer with them, but he's been very successful in that. Um, and you, for example, she has been able to achieve an exceptional level of achievement in education, personal growth, roles, and support networks. She is also navigating the literary world as a published author. So the sky is the limit. So those are the opportunities I've noticed in my lifetime.
Yes, and to piggyback on that, I've recently seen a lot of women doctors, professors, on all aspects. So it's really amazing to see, especially black are really trying to take over.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
My next question is: did the movement impact your career, education, or life?
Well, in an overall way, the movement has affected my life in a very constructive way by helping me in my journey to contribute to society. I genuinely appreciate the ride thus far. But just recently, like in 2025, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there was let's see, an Emory University nurse. She was placed on life support. She was brain dead. Did you hear about that story this past spring and summer?
Yes, ma'am. I recently read on that.
Okay. Well, only then was she removed from the support and life support and finally succumbed to her trauma 4 days later. The baby was born underweight and still has a lot of problems. And this all came about because like in was it 2019, Governor Kemp signed the Georgia Heartbeat Law, which banned abortions after cardiac activity can be detected, which is about 6 weeks into pregnancy. She was about, I guess, I think, probably about 8 weeks into her pregnancy when she had that medical condition. She had a brain clot or whatever. And anyway, she was diagnosed with being brain dead. She had a headache, blood clot in her brain. So they put her on life supports. But then later on, it was said that after she delivered the baby, um, that the law did not require the medical professional to keep the woman on life supports after being declared brain dead. Now, this is a maternity rates, maternal, I'm trying to say, the mortality rates for pregnancies is very, very high for women, people think, and especially for women of color, those marginalized groups. To me, it seemed like they could have done something. They should have been able to forego the law. But I know the medical professionals want to protect their jobs, okay? But then later on, after all this took place, then they came out with this. I think this attorney general, I think Carr was his last name. He said that the medical professionals uh, didn't have to abide by the law. Why didn't they speak up before all this transpired? That woman, they could have taken her off life supports a long time ago, and the baby not be born. Now the baby has a lot of challenges. So it really just put a bad taste in my mouth as far as that's concerned. The movement. So
Yeah, because that's really sad. So, to wrap up our interview, my one last question that I wanted to ask you is: what advice would you give the younger generation about continuing the fight from the past?
and you know what, Devin, no doubt, I was young at some point in my life and understood that once formative and young adult lives, we tend to think we know all there is to know about life. However, I learned to embrace lessons from the past and embrace the value of personal growth. The opportunities and leisures we currently have for women have not always been there. I encourage young women to build good relationships, prioritize their wellness, get involved in the community, stay patient during the challenging times as we are in now, And please continue to celebrate the small successes and keep going and keep the faith.
That's so amazing. Well, I want to thank you, Miss Wanda, for your time today and helping me with my oral assignment because I know you're busy too with your
Not a
assignment.
problem. Not a problem. But and I didn't mind helping at all, so I'm glad I was able to assist.
Yes. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay, I will, and you do as well. The same. Take care.
You too.